If indeed, still up about 0.6% on the FTSE, off of our session highs though. The CAC 40 index in Paris up still 1.5%, and as you can see, the DAX index also up close to 1%. Of course, Greece still a big topic. Greece saying that it has a big budget deficit under control now and doesn't even need a bailout. Really? Investors remain certainly sceptical. Joining us this morning is independent analyst Michael Wilson to talk about this and the struggling UK economy. Michael, good morning to you.
Morning.
Let's start with the Greek situation. It seems as though the whole thing is rather muddled, both the EU response and that from the Greeks.
Well, 12 years ago, I think a lot of people were thinking a lot of creative accounting was going on between the countries that were wanting to get into the euro, all for different kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Not just Greece, France, Germany too. And I think the governing body's response to this has been equally muddled. They say that they want something to happen, but they don't know what kind of help they're going to give, unfortunately. And I don't think even they know themselves. As far as Greece is concerned, not a country where there's a great deal of transparent accounting, I would guess. And thus, we don't even know what the problems there are. Now,
they say they don't need a bailout.
Well,
believe them?
I do not believe them. No, of course they need a bailout of some description. But the problem is, and I'm sure we'll get on to talk about this, once you start bailing countries out which are in a financial union, then you are in big trouble, because it says a great deal about the union itself. Why are we there in the first place? And of course that is the central flaw of the euro. I think you get many people...
single currency, but everyone has their own fiscal policies.
If you look at the United States, and this is an example I always use, there was a common currency after political union, the dollar, after the United States, not before. That's the difference, and that's what they're still trying to achieve in Europe. Now, this is the greatest test, I think, that the euro and its administration has ever faced. I think since it started, effectively, in theory, in 1999, there have been relatively easy years. Now, the cracks, I think, are really beginning to show.
Other countries out there potentially posing another Greece situation?
Latvia, for example, has been told to do the same. Ireland has been told to do the same. And when you've had the good times, it's very, very difficult for a country's people to actually say, OK, we'll take a few wage cuts, or we won't have wage increases. Same thing's happening here. You don't want austerity when you've had the good times. You don't want suddenly, for example, a country like Latvia to turn to the euro and say, wait a minute, we wanted that strong currency. Where's it gone? Oh, is that really what membership was all about? Oh, we've got to do some work ourselves, has we? It's all that kind of stuff. I think the project is facing a very worrying time at the moment.
Well, it's not like we in the UK can sit here smugly looking across the channel and going, you know, like tittering a little bit, because the UK economy continues to struggle, and there are continued talks about the possibility of a double-dip recession. Do you think that's a real possibility?
It is a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen. Just rewind slightly. We're not sitting here tittering on this side of the channel, but what we are saying to ourselves is, thank goodness we have an independent financial administration that can actually say, OK, we won't have interest rates at 1%, we'll have them at 0.5%. In other words, we can do something to try and help our own problems, which, of course, you can't do if you're united in financial terms as the EU is. Double-dip recession here? Well, I think perhaps what we're going to see, first of all, is the worries about unemployment. Now, I know that unemployment is actually falling slightly, but is this going to be a jobless climb out of recession?
Exactly.
Or are we going to see new jobs created? I think we might see a jobless rise, which will feel like another part of recession, because no jobs, no demand, deflation. Need I go on?
I think we'll leave it there. A little pessimistically, but I think pretty accurate. Michael Wilson, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. All right, coming up next, Madison Square Garden goes to the dogs. We'll tell you which breed was best in show when we come back.